Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend she shouldn't leave her kids at home for 8 hours while she's on a date? My girlfriend and I have been dating for 5 months. She and her kids were abandoned 9 months ago. Dude is POS. Never calls or sees the kids. One Father's Day he took the son, 16, for the weekend while not speaking to the two girls, 11, 14. So I tell the girlfriend that I don't think it's a good idea to go on a date with me and leave the kids home alone. She says the 14 is with friends and I say then it's worse or 11-year is alone for 6.5 to 9 hours. She gets mad and says she needs a life tour and the kids don't even pay attention to her. I tell her it's a shitty position to be in. Dad left because who knows? Mom is leaving for another man. Moms always get it harder. So in my eyes the kids will get mad at mom and then look at me as an asshole for taking the mom away. I tell her it's more common to leave for 2 to 3 hours. No big deal. But 6, 7, 10 that is too long. She gets mad at me and life at that point. I think it's too early to spend time with the kids but I did meet the kids 3 years ago and they know me. Not the asshole. Greater than she gets mad and says, the kids don't even pay attention to her. It's her job to pay attention to them.
Greater than she gets mad and says she needs a life too and the kids don't even pay attention to her. She chose to have 3 kids. A risk of having kids is them not wanting to pay attention to you all the time. They're not babies for all eternity. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole, you're right. All day is too much at 11 years old. Also, this is a pathetic thing to say as a grown adult about her kids. Greater than she gets mad and says she needs a life tour and the kids don't even pay attention to her.
You shouldn't date her. That's insane. She's a bad mom.
She left an 11-year-old home alone for that long. And you're still dating this person? Esh. I say it depends on the child and the neighborhood. At that age, I was definitely left alone for 7 or 8 hours at a time a few weekends of the year when my parents had events to go to. I just sat in the house and watched TV or played on the computer. I honestly think it depends on the 11-year-old, where you live, and a few factors. I have left my 10-year-old home alone for 5 hours calling every hour and checking the cameras regularly. She has a cell phone and knows how to cook basic things and we have a big scary overprotective dog. Honestly, if it wasn't socially unacceptable she would be fine on her own for much longer. I don't think it's a big deal. I'm honestly confused by a lot of answers on this post. At the age of 11/12 I 25F was considered responsible enough to babysit other people's kids. I wasn't a baby. If the 11-year-old is mature enough and has access to a phone in case of emergency, then it should be okay. Not the asshole. She really thinks the kids don't pay attention to me is a reason to leave them alone? What? Who's the parent here?
An 11-year-old can be home for 8 hours. I used to do that in the summers at that age while my parents were at work. You are the asshole. She knows her kids. They'll be fine.
Not the asshole, you're right. If you want to continue dating this person, consider having family dates that the kids can be a part of. But really, your girlfriend doesn't sound like a very good mom. Not the asshole. I feel 11 is young to be left in your own for that long.
Not the asshole, but I would reconsider dating a woman who hates her own kids. Not the asshole, but you could be. It's your opinion and it doesn't sound like you're being a jerk about it. But honestly, I used to be left alone for an entire weekend at 11 years old if I didn't feel like going camping or something. How safe is the neighborhood? How self-sufficient is the child? My sister works 10-hour days 4 days a week and her 12-year-old is home that entire time. On the other hand, my 10-year-old has such bad anxiety I can't leave her home alone to walk to the corner store. It just depends.
You are the asshole. They aren't your kids and an 11-year-old can manage.
I'm sorry, but a lot of kids are left alone for hours at that age. Especially if both parents work late hours. I'm not gonna say you're an asshole and maybe her reason for leaving the kids ain't the best, but it's truly not that big a deal to me. It really depends on how safe your area is and the independence of the child, but at that age the kid should be fine.
You are the asshole. The 11-year-old was likely happy to have the house to herself for a few hours. You're doing a lot of projecting and ignoring the part where it sounds like her kids have reached the stage of having their own interests. You reacted like she's leaving for the weekend, but you could have had that 6-hour date with no problem and all the kid would have done is watch 2 movies and eat some snacks. 11 is old enough to babysit, never mind be home alone in most places.
11 years old is fine to be alone for half a day. I did it all the time. As long as she has a way to contact the mom, and some food to eat. I mean, what's she going to do besides watch TikTok and play video games?
You are the asshole. You have no idea what is going on in her kids' heads. Maybe they want to be left alone. Maybe they want their mom to go dating and find someone she cares about. You are only focused on your own discomfort. You don't care what she is going through. You specifically say, so in my eyes the kids will get mad at mom and then look at me as an asshole for taking the mom away. If you can't see how self-centered, then she will dump you pretty soon, as she doesn't need another egotistical chump in her life. If she needed a life with complete freedom to do what she wants, then she shouldn't have had children. Not the asshole, you're absolutely in the right here. Not the asshole, you're right, that's way too long to leave her minor children unattended for. Yes, she should have a life too, but it is her responsibility as a parent to arrange for childcare in situations where her kids would be alone.
Nah. You have to ask yourself, are you ready to be a dad? Based on that, go with how you feel. She might need time away from her kids, and let's be honest, they might want time away from her. Do her time away and then ask the kids to go away altogether. That will go a long way with them.
Nah, in my opinion, except for the deadbeat dad ex. Mainly because I was left alone for long stretches as a kid. But I'm an introvert, so I actually enjoyed having the house to myself. I do get why that'd bother you, but they aren't your kids, and I think you should trust your girlfriend's judgment call on her own kids.
You are the asshole. It's nice that you're concerned about the kid, but many 11-year-olds are fine home alone for 8 hours. Hell, at 11, I was babysitting other people's kids. Yes, it was the 80s, but I was Red Cross certified and damn good at it. In addition, your girlfriend is the parent. Not you. You don't get to have input into her parenting choices. It sounds like you and your girlfriend have wildly different ideas about parenting and what's appropriate. You two should get those differences worked out now, or break up. Those kids aren't going away, and if you're constantly judging her choices, things aren't going to go well.
Not the asshole, you were saying your opinion respectfully. However, an 11-year-old is old enough to stay home alone nowadays with cell phones.
Not the asshole, but the mom needs to take a serious look at her priorities. Seems like you have the right mindset, but do you want the possibility of being the primary one to raise these kids if your relationship advances? Because anyone who thinks it's okay to leave their young kids alone for long periods of time to go on a date is pretty damn selfish. Dish out for a babysitter so at least they are being watched in case of emergency. Also, are they being expected to prepare their own meals while she's away? Lots wrong with this situation.
No assholes here. You expressed concern for their well-being and questioned if it was a good idea. Admittedly, it's not really. That being said, odds are the 11-year-old will be fine. The 14-year-old definitely would be. I mean, I was generally fine to be alone for prolonged periods of time by the time I was 11.
11 is a reasonable age as long as she has access to phone and knows what to do in an emergency. Nah. You're rightfully concerned, but it's her place as mom to know when her kids are old enough to be left alone. Info: what do you mean it's too early to hang with them, but you met them 3 years ago?
Not the asshole. If the 16-year-old was in charge, okay, I could see a longer day out every once in a while. But an 11-year-old alone all day is too much. I'd only trust the 14-year-old for short periods if left in charge.
This thread is so over the top when it comes to kids. You are the asshole, dude. You're a boyfriend off 5 months. You are way out of line. Trust me, she cares way more about her kids than she does about you. 11 is old enough to be left alone for a day. I was all the time back in the day. And that was before cell phones and texting. I just made frozen pizza and played video games. It was fun.
You are the asshole. You don't get to dictate how she raises her children. Even if they are dumbass mistakes. Yeah, not the asshole. My kids, 11 and 13, don't pay much attention to me either, until I'm on the phone, that is, but that doesn't mean my husband and I leave for hours on end without them. I take walks around our neighborhood each night, sometimes with my husband, but we're never gone for more than a half an hour, and the kids know where we are, and even then I worry. This is a big red flag if you ask me. You are the asshole if the kids aren't delayed in any way that makes them unable to do things that are typical for their ages. There's no reason they can't handle things so long as they have access to a phone for emergencies.
It all depends on the neighborhood, how secured your house is and kind of kid. My parents used to leave me alone for 10 to 11 hours when I was 10. We had a dog, used to lock main door, and I just watch TV or read or sleep. Not the asshole. All the people saying an 11-year-old can take care of herself are forgetting one very important detail. The father effectively abandoned the child for the day by only taking her teenage brother. So dad doesn't want her, and on top of that, neither does mum. How do you think that'll make her feel? Today is the day she needs her mother more than ever. Not the asshole, but I'm not sure that your girlfriend is the asshole either. In my opinion, this is very situational. If this were a super frequent occurrence, I'd say it's definitely not appropriate to leave an 11-year-old home alone for that long. However, if the kid is mature and responsible and has plenty of food in the house, emergency contacts, and a neighbor they could call for immediate help if necessary, I'm not sure it's a problem. I was babysitting other kids in the neighborhood when I was 11.
Not the asshole. I'm a single mother, I have 3 kids. I always make sure that I have someone all 4 of us know and trust with them when I need to go off and do something by myself. It's shitty behavior.
Not the asshole. She sounds horrible. Sorry to say that. Children at that age still need someone to be there. Even if it's just so they feel safe, even if they would never admit that.
Some comments ITT say that they were left alone as an 11-year-old and they were fine. Kids these days just play on their phones etc. Well, first of all, that's dandy for you, but that doesn't excuse house burning down, or strangers knocking on the door saying, "Come with me quick, your mum is in trouble," or falling down the stairs. Second, the mother isn't saying, "Oh, they're okay, they watch TV and we have quality time together later, gee, I love my kids." No, the mother is saying she leaves the kids alone because they don't pay her any attention, which is so very unhealthy. I would bet my last dollar that she is a neglectful, absent mother at the best. These kids deserve better and, while your concern would spare you full asshole status, you're complicit now, you know, and I think you should call child protection in.
Not the asshole. You are a good person. No one should be leaving their 11-year-old alone for that long.
Not the asshole. As a parent, her children's well-being is her life. I'm a mom of an almost 5-year-old. Dad and I have been separated since he was 2. Would I like a life beyond work, home, work? Sometimes, but is it worth it? No. Whoa. Not the asshole. I'm a single parent too. My son is 10 and my twins are 8. I've been single for almost 10 years, different fathers, twins' father is a deadbeat boss. I may have been on a handful of dates when I have a sitter I can trust. I would never ever leave my 10-year-old home alone. His sisters BC. I need a life. Let me tell ya, I'd love to have a life. But I am a parent first.
Nah. By 11 I was babysitting other kids. The kids may very well enjoy being home alone.
Info: how often does she leave them home alone? Depending on her state, the 11-year-old is likely able to be left home alone, and as long as the 11 is responsible enough and has a phone, I don't see it is so horrible for like one day here or there for her to be home alone. And a 14-year-old is usually completely able to care for themselves for a day as well. Obviously this would vary from child to child because I would never trust my child to be left alone because he has ADHD and is very impulsive. My main concern would be, is this a thing that she's doing like regularly?
You are the asshole. It depends on the 11-year-old. I was babysitting at that age for my younger brother who was 8. My parents called halfway through to check in. We were fine. You are overreacting. My own son started staying home by himself around that age.
Not the asshole. This is a huge red flag. Run.
Not the asshole. That is shocking.
So info: is the 11-year-old home alone or is he with a sibling?
Not the asshole, but you could have helped her out by changing the nature of the date into an activity that she could bring her daughters.